aging goth folk, and we are here to talk about things that are within our theme realm, and then just things that are fun and everything like that. Starting off, I'm just Jess, and we've got Rave and Raven. Um, what's been
I
up with
resemble
you?
that aging remark.
Some of us a little, staggered, whatnot. We're all at least around 30 or 40 or 50 years old, something like that.
Yeah,
Um, how you
I'm either
guys?
30, 40, or 50 years old, and I don't need this.
None of this. Done with it. How you guys been? There's been a lot of things that have gone on in the past couple weeks.
Yeah, last few weeks have been an absolute shit show between having a little bit of a basement flood going on, catching COVID at the end of a vacation, going to physiotherapy for a finger rehab and a shoulder rehab, on top of trying to maintain running a club night with three special events coming, maintaining a marriage and a full-time job. You know what? Life's been fucking easy.
Rubbing that club night real hard. Raven,
It's gonna
how
kill me.
Raven, how about you?
Just keep my head down and just keep on going with life, no matter how much it kicks me in the ass.
Vent that fucking sorrow out. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I've been tired as hell. You guys know the dilemma about my car rentals. I rent through Turo for people that are listening and aren't aware of what that is. It's kind of like the Airbnb of cars. And we had a very interesting case last week where one of our renters let his grandson take our sports car, and they totaled it 100 miles an hour 3 times. They had three separate incidences of hitting something at 100 miles an hour. So if you want a car that is absolutely indestructible, find yourself a Kia Stinger, because they're about to go out of print anyway. So gather those on up. But yeah, 2 cars totaled in 1 week. We got word back that my Mitsubishi was totaled yesterday, but I'm already eyeballing the Mini Cooper in my dreams. So I think that's going to be the direction I go in. So
The that stinger, those pictures were absolutely absurd. I'm surprised somebody walked away from that.
I didn't recognize the car. It kind of felt like forensics when they use your teeth to identify you. The only reason I knew it was my car was because I was walking past and I saw the Deadpool hubcaps that Doug had put on there, and I was like, "Oh my god, really?" Because it took at least 2 feet off the whole front. Yet the engine block was still just chilling. Everything was fine. The inside was torn up. It was like everything had exploded perfectly to the point where nobody in the car died. Luckily, wild, wild
So
stuff.
you identified your car by a tattoo.
Essentially, yep. I was like, oh, that's yeah, exactly. That's exactly what the fuck that was. I would walk past it like 5 times had it not been for those hubcaps. So get yourself some tattoos. Also, same fucking kind of thing. Anyway, how's Canada doing over there? I'm gonna get to asylum at one point in my life. When's the next one? And are you going to be able to smuggle me over in time? Because I'm not gonna go out and get the real ID or whatever the fuck I need to go across. It's too much paperwork. If I have to fill out a form, I'm not going to Canada.
You're going to need to fill out a form at some point. At the very least, you're going to have when you renew your driver's license, tell them you want the Canada driver's license so you can cross.
Can I actually do that? Oh wait, no, the Canada drivers. Never mind. There was some dumb shit there. The Canada endorsement saying that I'm Canada safe, basically.
Yeah,
But I'm still from Michigan. I thought you were
it's
talking
like
like
some kind of like smart ID thing. I don't know. I don't know exactly how Michigan does it anymore. I've been gone for way too long, but I know there's some kind of something in the driver's license that can do it. I just carry two passports and a Nexus card, so I've just for 15 years of doing that, I've kind of forgotten how else to do it.
I thought for a minute you were honestly talking like I should just like get some dual citizenship going. Like shit, just fill out the form, drop it in the mail. If I knew it was that easy, I would like maybe utilize that depending on how the election cycle goes this year. Like yeah, depending on what happens, I might be jumping ship if it's just a 2 week process to become a
Yeah, I see. I
dual
don't know how
citizen.
long it takes now with the current guidelines in place by the government of Canada now, but when from the time I started my process until I got my actual citizenship was about 7.5 years.
Nice. Yeah, they're
Well,
not going to want me anyway. I have no marketable skills.
well, you also have to think about, even when you get to Canada, you still have to be able to afford like living, like housing there, and it's insane.
Is it
It's
like
so
Housing
Chicago?
here is fucking absurd.
it's
Yeah.
absurd. Like a normal house, like in the greater Toronto area, is like $1 million.
$1 million
Yeah,
just for this
like, and
nine
that's not
hundred
like a
square foot long
fancy.
ranch.
Yes.
That's not like a fancy everything's brand new, like just a plain house that you'd find on the like Detroit's east side. You throw that in Toronto, it's $1 million house.
Have you ever
It's
stopped to think
wild.
that maybe Canada's just that fucking good? Like, what are you guys hiding over there?
It's the poutine, dude.
It's got to
It's
be.
the
Not only
poutine.
Putin, but sure, the United States has the right to bear arms, and to a degree, we have, there's a lot of gun owners over here, just not handguns. But where you have the right to bear arms, we have the right to bear tits, and to that's worth a little bit extra
It's the only
Mhm.
weapons you need sometimes. And
sometimes.
you guys are going to
There's
have
I
the
stole
only.
that line from my wife, by the way. She threw that at me originally.
Tell her I said, hey, is she there?
She's right over there flashing me at the moment because it's funny.
There we go. I saw you looking
trying to
over. I'm like,
disarm
oh,
you.
she's just right there then.
He's
What
trying to
up,
disarm
Marcy?
you.
I just figured it because you guys were going to have the only surviving maple trees left in a couple years, but I guess the tits thing is cool too.
The tits thing is really cool, but I do have a maple tree in my backyard, and one of these years, I mean, I've only lived in this house 10 years. I'll eventually get around to trying to tap it.
I'm going to be coming for your syrup, John.
Tap it.
Oh, yeah, we
Tapping.
tap it.
To be fair, you're too busy tapping other things.
To be fair.
Oh, hey, from
Oh,
the
hey,
peanut gallery.
oh.
From the peanut
Atta girl.
gallery.
Atta girl.
So
Drive-by
industrial.
smutty comment. I love it.
What's been going on in the Gothland? I think we're gonna save yours for last, Raven, um, because it's probably gonna be golden because we have no idea what the gamble is. I'm kind of curious what you're bringing to the table, John. Did you send me a link of anything, or are you just gonna talk about it?
I actually sent you a link in
Okay,
that group chat of ours.
let me just downsize
Of
this window. Hope I don't
I'm
have
looking
anything
at
up.
it. I'm looking at it. I know the group. I know who
Oh,
they are.
there's a few different things going on with this. Nice. You should, in theory, be able to hear this. Oh, shit.
No president has ever had over your daily life.
Forget it. Like, don't pay attention to all my suggested stuff here. My kid needs to
We
find
can't
out.
we can't see whatever is going on your.
Oh, that's right. You can't actually see
You
it.
can't. No. Well, I
But
don't
I
know if
can.
it's being
That's
recorded
all
or
that
what.
matters.
So. But yeah. I believe they've come to town a few times and played locally.
I'm gonna turn up really loud for a second.
Well, I hear just, but I don't hear anything else. So the band is the band Sign, which I wasn't overly familiar with, except for they got announced to. Well, she got announced to being a part of DarkForce Fest, which is a festival in New Jersey that I absolutely live for.
So
So anytime there's a band,
I'm sorry, I did the interrupting, even though I'm like, hey, should not do that. I'm always bad at that. But our listeners should have been able to like hear it and see it. We're gonna have to work on that with the whole. But anyway, that is a pretty sweet track.
yeah, that's the Leather Strip remix, and like I know Sign, she's toured with Bauhaus, and she's on tour right now with the Clan of Zymox. Curse Mackey has done some remixes for. I saw her, around Dark Force Fest last year, and I know she's worked with Nitza Reb, and which is pretty freaking impressive for an artist that didn't release their first release until 2019.
Yeah.
But everything that I've heard so far has been really damn solid, and I'm very thankful I follow the that Dark Force Fest festival because there's 35, 40 bands every year. So as they announce them every couple days, another one's like, okay, do I know? If not, I go home and listen to everything I can find. So that's how Sign ended up on my radar.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. I was gonna ask you about Dark Force Festival. That's the one in a castle in New Jersey, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's like a Sheridan that's a castle, and yeah,
That's so
the
weird.
two the two conference rooms there. One of them gets set up for like the big bands, and then there's merch in the back, and then there's a smaller one that's for some other bands, and so it's room to room to room to room from like noon to midnight, nonstop goth, industrial, post punk, and dark wave bands, and last year, I think there was almost 4,000 attendees across 3 days, and it's an interesting experience, like,
That's a
wandering
lot of big
around, and
names.
all the people in the bands are just hanging out too. I walked out to a taco truck and, turn around and, Klaus from Leather Strip standing behind me in line for the taco truck, and he's just having a grand old time, clowning around with everybody. I'm walking through the main corridor, and, Rogue from Crew Shadows comes walking by with his kid, and he was, much
I
older than I thought Rogue's kid was gonna be. So it's just like everyone's there hanging out, having a good time, and just really focused on just 3 days of music of all types. There was a lot of shit I didn't care for. There's, more gothic metal and stuff. Like, that's not my thing.
I
But there
saw
was some,
some wild
legit
after party
industrial.
photos.
What's that?
I saw some wild after party photos. That's all I
I
didn't go, but I've seen some things that I can't unsee.
if it was Chance's photos, I know which ones they were.
You know, that was among the list, and yes, yes,
That's
absolutely, that was
your
one.
We felt
experience.
bad that, like, we didn't go Marcy and I didn't go to any of the after parties because we thought we were gonna have a grand old time of it. So we fly down on the Friday, and we take the hour, ride over, almost get our asses abducted by it being stupid. That's another story. So
Abducted.
we finally get there, we get settled in, we go through the first night of shows, we're exhausted, get up the next day, and we bring a gigantic bottle of Jameson in with us. So at noon, we start just swigging at the alcohol. Come
God,
8 o'clock, we're dead to the world. We start getting messages telling me you need to come to this after party, and just we're getting descriptions of everything going on. And oh no, we were out cold like drunken old people, missed all of the good after parties.
I was gonna say your experience with like going to shows and like kind of actually being able to run into like the artists and stuff like that. I went to Cold Waves 2 years ago at Cold Waves 10, and I had a very similar experience. It was great because of, like, you're like in the culture, like you're just with like-minded people, enjoying all the same music, talking about what interests you guys have, and it was just a really awesome unity that everybody has in the group. And even though you can come from all over the place, because it's in Chicago, I was meeting people from all over the place, outside of the country, all around the United States. It was just great to see that everybody like came for the music and the culture and everything like that. And meeting the artists was also another interesting thing, because they were just like, oh, they're just like hanging out, and you're just like, oh, hey, you did a show and that was cool. I've never been able to get to like talk to a musician that wasn't like a big stage musician like that, and when I could just like talk to them about their sound creation and all the other things that they came up with, it was like really cool to actually like get to know them on a personal level. And that was like really, that was the thing about going to one of these events. Uh, go to your local goth festivals, guys. Everybody listening, if you
oh yeah,
go to them,
the scene's
awesome,
so
awesome
different now.
experience. Yeah.
You used to have to wait in the
Uh,
freezing cold, like next to a tour bus, and then like still not ever
mhm.
fucking meet anybody. And if they came off the bus, there was so many people surrounding them. It was just madness. Like it was always playing the lotto. And now I feel like bands are so much more approachable.
As long as there's like that respect, that
Hmm.
like I feel like that's key, is like you gotta respect the artist, and respect their space and whatnot. That's like a whole nother thing which we don't have to get into, but as long as you're respectful, and I feel like it's just great to, because the artist wants to create that, right? They want to create the following, the audience, they want to build. And, putting themselves out there and talking with fans, that's how you get another fan, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, and I think a lot of it comes down to artists love to nerd out about what they're doing, and they're part of the subculture because they love it. They're fans just like we are. So anytime I, be it either of you two or anyone else that we know, if you can nerd out with somebody about something they're passionate about,
Oh yeah.
they're generally more than happy to just gush this passion out.
Well, and speaking of which, so I went to see Health in March, and I took Lydia. It was her first concert. I think you guys already know this whole part. I'm obsessed with Health now. I'm just hopelessly like. Anyhow, Johnny is the most approachable motherfucker in the entire world. The bassist, Johnny Famiglietti. Oh, I think I said it correct that time. Probably not, maybe not. Anyway, he was standing out after. He encourages fans to come up and talk to him, and I was kind of scared, and the kid actually pushed me into doing it. But I don't know why I got scared. He was the nicest fucking person, and now he does streams all the time. He does streams every single week, pretty much, unless they're like touring. He's constantly updating Instagram. I just feel like bands are more. They're not just trying to sell their music anymore. They're trying to sell who they are as people. And I get that kind of sense of community a lot. And I'm going to use that as a segue into my share for this week. Speaking of health, now keep in mind you guys aren't going to be able to hear this because we got to figure that out tech wise. Yeah, you're not special. I'll send you a link though. What happened? So you guys remember Tetsuo, obviously, an industrial classic at this point. Health basically did a video with a lot of it as their backdrop, and it's pretty fucking well put together. It's for the song Crack Metal, if you guys have been paying attention to Health. So it's not like a brand new song, newer, not like came out last week. So a couple minutes of silence, not minutes, I'm sorry, seconds of silence. Just get some sweet clips in there. All right, I'm back. It took more than a second. I had to listen. Anyway, really sweet video, and I'll drop the link to you guys. With that said, we're gonna go right into our last share because I'm kind of excited about what I think this is. You can go ahead and take it away, Raven, whenever you're ready.
All right. Well, from one Corvid to another. I just came up with that, by the way. I did not plan that.
Yes.
That's
Corvid to another.
So, the recent
Underground
release of the Crow movie, I went ahead and previewed it, and so it's starring Bill Skarsgård, FKA Twigs, and Danny Hudson. The intro has this really cool like dark gothy instrumental music, and it's like very artistically shot, and like it's like Eric Draven's all covered in like black goo and blood, and you can see his tattoos through like it kind of looks like motor oil, but it's like really creepy. And he's like plays this like kind of emotionally scarred, psychologically tortured character with like addiction issues and his haunted past. And then
relatable to
like
most of us.
right. And then there's Shelley, which is this girl who you don't really know at the beginning of the movie. She's got this like her mom was like neglectful for reasons. And then you've got the baddie in the movie his name's Mr. Rogue. And he's this like immortal guy who has demonic powers to bring out the worst in people and make them do things that they normally wouldn't. And his motives are like collecting innocent souls for the devil and sending them to hell because they're supposed to go to heaven. Like that's his like job, I guess. He's like, hey, I make a deal with you, and I'll send these people to hell and whatnot. Listening like for like recognizable songs because we can't talk about the Crow without the Crow soundtrack.
Yeah.
In the new Crow, the 2024 Crow, we have Joy Division. Disorder, good song. Love Joy Division. We've got a Traders featured track.
Oh.
So yes,
Yeah.
we got some Traders. So we got some old, we got some new. A band called The Veils, which I'm not really familiar with, but it's got this kind of exactly. Like I hadn't really heard of them. Maybe someone is more familiar with them. Maybe it's one of those things that they're like kind of making a name for themselves, like nationally. Gary Newman, the song "Me." And then there's an Enya track on there as well.
What?
Yeah, but I feel like it was one of those like lovey scenes, you know. It's like
They had to keep it 90s enough to be believable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously the tracks definitely touched on like the goth culture of modern times and its formidable years, but it will never be what soundtracks for movies were back when The Crow came out.
I feel like
Because
there's not as much money in it when it comes to
no,
Hollywood, and I mean, like, yes and
it's
no.
all it's all about streams now,
Yeah.
and they're not gonna do like a vinyl pressing of that, which just wouldn't really it just I would rather have the original Crow soundtrack in front of me, but that's just because it like I feel like we all have nostalgia from the original film. I'll get to
Yeah.
that later, but you can't really compare the two. It's not even a full like you could do like half of a CD, and no one would really want to buy that anyway. The pros of the movie, I really like the colorful, diverse sets, great lighting, conventional shooting, no major stylization. Water seemed to be a very common theme, though. There's a lot of underwater, like sinking down,
It was
pulling
very
up.
damp in the first movie. Now that you kind of mentioned that, Detroit's very just damp. It's very
Yeah,
moist
Can't
yeah.
rain
all
all
the
the
time. There's
time.
always like a and it does
No,
somehow, and it's always just wet, and even when it's dry,
it's
so that makes
a
sense.
style
It's like a
choice.
dirty wet, dirty filthy
Yeah,
wet.
Well,
yeah.
Michigan's a swamp
It's like
state.
a
I mean, what do you
bum
expect?
piss oil spill wet everywhere all the time. It's like a men's locker room.
Right.
Anyhow,
How much
continue.
time are you spending in men's locker rooms?
It's been a while. I know. Fuck. Fuck.
Oh dear.
So the
Um,
Crow, how hard does it shit on goth people? I think that's what I want to know here. Is it like Cleveland Steamer level? Are we talking like Last Bottom Boat? How bad of a shit on
uh,
goths does it take?
uh,
Will we
you
ever
know,
survive this?
no. So here's the thing. I mean, if I really had to break it down when it comes to that, I don't think it was like trying to be. There was this really cool shot. I wanna because there was that one shot of Brandon Lee walking in slow motion. He's wearing the
Yeah.
full. He's got his face all done up. He's
Mm-hmm.
got the full on trench coat. He's walking.
Look
There's
on
like the
Jess's
lighting.
face that she remembers the fuck out of
I
that.
could see like the
Right,
poster on all these dudes' walls
right.
back in the day. Yeah, I know
They
exactly.
they did like a
These
nod to
dudes.
that. They
These
did a
dudes,
nod
it's
to
me,
that.
I'm dudes. What up?
Yeah, they did a really good remake nod to that, and they were playing Gary Newman in the background.
I
And
mean,
it was
always a
it was
solid choice.
and it was kind of cool. Like I was like, okay, they did that thing for like cool fan service. The quote in the movie that was like repeated many times is like, "The Crow will guide you to right to make the wrong things right." So it was like that whole. It was like the story about like Eric Draven trying to bring back his girlfriend from being murdered by murdering the bad guy, right? And like
Mm-hmm.
that's what it came to be like a story of. Um, he can't be killed at the same time he can feel the pain, and he's like putting like refixing like his broken bones. Like he gets ran over by a truck.
It's
He's
like
sticking his
Wolverine.
like organs back in him, and like he's like in a lot of pain. So I feel like Skarsgård does a really great job like in his role. He's not Brandon Lee. He'll
No,
never be Brandon Lee. Accept it. Sorry. Like as as a film, it was good.
good. So it's
It
worth
was
like my $5 on a Tuesday morning at MJR. Kind of good.
yes,
Alrighty.
yes. A $5. Do not try to compare it to the original. Just go in, have a good time. There is an amazing shootout scene near the end of the movie where he comes into an opera, like killing bodyguards with a
Just spoiling
sword
the
and
whole
a
thing for me.
gun,
You fucker.
like Matrix style, where he's just getting like bullets just going into him, and he's stabbing people with a sword through himself, like jamming it into other people.
Like
He's like,
Yoshimitsu and Soul Calibur. I was trying to
yes,
think of who had that move.
yes,
Yes.
the Yoshimitsu move. Holy, oh man,
He
you're
was
bringing me
so
back.
fucking
Yeah,
hard to use. He was such a hard
yes,
character, but it's so rewarding when you'd figure it out.
yeah. Oh, there was okay. This is okay. Two questions because there were elements in the movie that you actually might know,
Mhm.
with your background. He uses tattoo ink as makeup, like putting it around his eyes. Is that a thing? Can you do that?
That sounds gross.
Would that even work?
I
Would
don't.
that wash off in the water? Like how?
It would wash off. Yeah,
Yeah.
it would
Oh,
wash off, and I think that'd be. I don't know what it's made out of. I just know it's not FDA approved. So
you probably don't want to put that around your
you
eye.
probably don't want to put it on your skin either. But nobody's stopping you on. But under your eye feels a little chancy as well. So that feels like eye
Okay.
infection chancy. He should have just got some Wet and Wild like the rest of us used to.
He's already dead.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
And then
Exactly.
he also tattoos himself while dead, while he has this like healing ability. Wouldn't that not work? Like, there's another thing.
It would push it out. So
Yeah,
I want
it
you to
probably,
call the
like,
producers up and tell them they fucked up and they fucked up
they
hard.
fucked up. Like, and
That's the
he's
part
like
you're gonna
covered.
bitch about.
Continuity
He's
error.
covered in tattoos. Like, he is covered. Like, like Joker, Jared Leto, Joker style thing.
He looks like Dollar
Right.
Dave. If anybody
Yeah.
remembers Dollar Dave.
Yeah.
Anyway. Sorry.
It was like the movie kind of paralleled the original. Danny Hudson played a good baddie. Like, he played the baddie well. And I feel like I feel like it was a well worth, like, cheap movie. I don't like that they recycled the IP. If I didn't know that the original existed, this would have been like it's like a 2024 action film that I enjoyed.
But you do know it existed, and therein lies the
But I
problem.
do know it existed, and I kind of like, yeah, I knew I was going to be let down, so I went in with a open mind, and like I just said, it's okay.
Fair enough.
You know, I do intend on watching it, but I have a little bit of a different mindset. Like I said, I haven't seen it yet, but I don't feel like I'm going to be let down because I came to the conclusion a few years ago that I don't think the original was really a great movie.
It was of the times.
It was just it was a movie of its era. It had a great soundtrack. I can't take that from it. But it was just a weird 90s movie and a sea of weird 90s movies. It just so happened to have the right soundtrack to go along with it. So do I feel like the new one's gonna let me down? Not really. I mean, the first one wasn't exactly fine fucking cinema. It was entertaining. The end.
Aesthetic. It was aesthetic as well. And the new one seems like the aesthetic, even though the grumpy people don't like that he's like short haired, mulleted, or whatever the hell. I think he looks fine. I think a lot of
Oh
people
my
are going to
god,
be
he just
watching for the
inspired.
same aesthetic, and it's similar to the original without being exactly the same because it's not the 90s anymore, which I think they did an appropriate job of it without seeing it. But from everybody else that's older, they said that we all got just collectively shit on really hard, I guess, and appropriated, and we should be really, really fucking mad about it, you guys. And speaking of things that
You
piss us
know,
off, wait, you were gonna say one more thing?
I'll say this is actually a really good segue for things that piss me the fuck off.
Yes.
There he goes.
This is a really good
Wow.
segue because
There it
as
is.
somebody who as someone who runs what I classify as a dark alternative event, everyone else calls it goth, I don't. I'm so sick and fucking tired of people trying to like, well, this is what goth is, and this is what it is, and this is what it always was, and this is like, fuck you. It's a goddamn label that came on after the fact. That's not even the original fucking name. Art is ever evolving. I don't give a goddamn rat's ass if you're stuck in the way the art was 35 fucking years ago. Suck my asshole. The shit evolves. We have evolved. Evolve, motherfucker, or shut the fuck up because you're not the one coming to the clubs anyway. These old, grumpy, cranky motherfuckers.
It's me.
I do not cater to the old, cranky motherfuckers, and I am one of them.
I am. But I
But,
tried to
like, musically
pretend I'm
speaking,
16.
I'll play it because I like it. Even, like, we have Baby Bats, 19, 20 years old, love the old music.
Mhm.
I don't play it for the old people. The old people, for every one that said, "Oh, this isn't the way it used to be," for every one of them that's left, I've had 5 younger ones come.
Oh, I know. I think it's
So it's
actually
like,
interesting how big of an influx the scene has gotten over the past like decade or so. Is in the 2000s, it seemed like it was dying. So let me get though this week you're great because for our listeners, every week we're gonna do like either a gab where we talk about something, a game, or a gripe. John's going gripe this time, and he's angry. Your gripe, or
I'm
rather,
angry because
is
I'm tired of critics
you're
who
just
don't
tired.
even show up in the first
Are you
place.
tired of the old gatekeepers, essentially? Or are we going to determine definitively right here on this podcast, right now, between the three of us, because collectively we've got a lot of years of experience, what is goth? Are we? Let's
I will
go.
never
Let's
attempt to define something like that.
figure
That's a
this
moving
out.
target. And I have no interest in being flamed by some neckbeard in a basement 2,000 miles away because they don't agree with what my definition of goth is.
Yeah.
I have enough things to deal with in life. But I am pissing and moaning about the old gatekeepers who will they're not coming out to try and keep a subculture alive. They're not keeping a scene alive. They're not doing anything but listening to the same 6 albums that were great 35 years ago over and over and over and over and over. I'm tired of their mouths. I'm tired of their bitching. It's like, you don't like what we're doing? Then fuck you. Get up and do something yourself. Oh, wait, you're not going to. You're just going to sit there and shit on people who are trying to do something, putting blood, sweat, and tears into trying to keep a subculture moving and trying to keep it alive. You're just going to sit there and shit because it doesn't appeal to your antiquated, grumpy ass. Fuck you.
Raven, how mad are you at this? Because I'm pretty mad, but I'll let you go first about how pissed this makes me.
I'm just gonna say that I understand where your anger comes from, but I can't let these people get to me. I understand it, but I can't because that's what they want and that's how they win. And so I just can't. I just let it roll off my back. I get it. Gatekeeping sucks. It's dumb, and it's just like, hey, you can't be one of us because A, B, or C. It's the T-shirt guy asking you like to name 5 songs from the band that you're wearing. You know, like that bullshit. It's unnecessary.
Mm.
I'll say ultimately, they don't win because I'm pissed off. I win because, yes, I'm the showrunner, but I'm part of a team that runs an event that goes on every month that we have not had a month that didn't hit capacity in years.
It's crazy.
We've been at capacity for years. And it's people that's really from 18, well, over here, 19, up all the way up to 65. There's a wide range of people coming out, filling the place every damn night. We do sell one-off events, kind of special little niche side events. They pack the house on that. So even though I'm pissed off because I'm tired of all the gatekeepers, I think I still win because I'm out there as part of a subculture, having a damn good time, having a lot of fun, having a lot of laughs, making a lot of friends. And every single month, I'm getting to learn new music that just blows my mind. So they irritate the shit out of me, but I still think I win.
You're making me want to ford the river and not get caught by the Coast Guard, just so I can come next time. Unless you
You'd
want
be
to go let
surprised
them
how
out
many
for me.
people from Detroit come over.
No, I'm not
You
surprised
go by
because
kayak.
there's not a lot of shit here. I mean, there's Smalls is sweet, and then there's the other club that shall not be named.
Oh, are we not allowing to? Are we not going there?
We can
I was gonna say there's a lot of.
I
There's
have
a
no
lot of
stake in anything
interesting-
anymore. I can just I am who I want to be now. I have nothing left to lose. It's great. Fucking city club. Anyway, my
I haven't been there in so long, I don't know if it sucks or not anymore.
it's literally half the club it used to be. Literally. they halved it. It's a hallway. It ends. It's got a blockage, essentially. I was like, "Where's the dance floor?" I was so wasted. I was so wasted. I smacked into the wall. Like they didn't have to paint the wall black and do me dirty like that. Like it's a door with a wall they had to build, but they can't fix the stuff that they needed to actually fix that would have taken the same amount of building anyway. Or that's a different gripe. That's a different gripe for a different episode.
We could talk about that place.
It's
like a whole. It's a whole.
That's a whole. That's a whole
there.
fucking episode. We'll have to actually do it while we're urbexing in the 4th floor too. It's the only way we'll do
You know me.
inaugural City Club episode. And then it'll end up with us.
If I'm going out in the Detroit area, I'm at Smalls.
Yes, same here. We're not even getting paid to say that. I just love Smalls, and I'll be there eventually, sometime this year, maybe when I get a moment to do that.
I was there
Shout out
last
to Mike.
weekend. What the hell?
Shout out to Mike and the crew.
What I add to this is that I think there's a certain psychology to some old people. I think that they try to not like new things because they feel like they have to then change and lose like part of their identity, like who they were at one point in their 20s is invalid, without realizing that like if you change and add different things to your palettes, the young people are going to think you're shit. They're going to call you the Rizzler, okay? You're not going to be Skibbity. They're going to be like, oh, we're going to call this bitch. She's going to have some cool shit to listen to. No cap and things like that. and you're still going to get to retain your old shit, and then they'll actually appreciate your old shit more because you're not being a douchebag about it, like, oh, music was so much better in my day. Shut the fuck up. It wasn't. It was just the shit that you listened to. There was music that was awesome in the 70s. I wasn't there for it. Okay, everybody's got their own generation of stuff, and just keep up with things. You're not dead yet.
I'm willing to go out on a limb and say that the music is better now than it was back in the day. Because back in the day, yes, there were a few dozen really groundbreaking bands. Some really cool shit happening and very interesting things.
Skinny Puppy.
Yeah, I love Puppy. I mean, hell,
More
I went to
Skinny
I
Puppy.
drove to Cleveland to go to their farewell tour. I mean,
I still live in
amazing. But
Vegas.
there's only really a few dozen of them for the
Yeah.
most part, and it seemed like half of them were based out of Chicago and Wax Tracks and a revolving circle jerk of the same 8 people doing 14 different projects. And
Or
I love that.
England.
Big face.
But where we're at now is it's grown so much. The technology has expanded. The access to everything is expanded so much that it's now instead of a few dozen, you have a few hundred bands easily who are just true, diehard, passionate, artistic, creative individuals. So no matter what part of the subculture, what part of the sound you like, there is something for you. And rarely in the last 5 years, it's all there's like just an embarrassment of riches of phenomenal music coming out. You just have to barely scratch the surface, and there it is. If you like that OG old school sound, there's a lot of that out there. If you like more future poppy stuff, there's a ton of it out there. You like some crunchy industrial, there's a lot of that out there. You want some punkier feeling stuff that has, more of a political leaning, there's a ton of it out there. So I am
Ministry's still
willing to
doing
say
shit, yeah.
that the music now is better than it's ever been, and we have a wider variety of it. So I can't be down with the gatekeeping, and how it has to be this old stuff.
This is an
Are
aside,
you
but
kidding me?
fashion's like that now too. Do you have any idea how much I would kill for half the shit you could just go pick up at Walmart? It's fucking stupid. Like in the 90s, you had to go and find some store that had some special order black lipstick. Not now. Maybe it's Maybelline. You just go pick that shit right up. It's wild. So yeah, we've come a long way. Even though it's saturated, a lot of people complain about that. I don't. It doesn't really bother me. Just feels like there's a certain accepted place where we're not going to get, jeered at as much and shoved into our lockers at school.
What I loved about it 30 years ago, I still love about it today, except for now I get to really just roll around in it more.
Pretty much, and not be made to feel like such a big fucking weirdo about it. Even though sometimes I miss that. It's definitely a whole different vibe. Well,
I
gentlemen,
guess the cool thing about being middle-aged is I don't give a fuck if people think I'm a weirdo. I'm a weirdo. I'm a middle-aged fucking weirdo, and I don't give a shit anymore. I am too old to give a shit. I'm gonna revel in the weirdness.
you get to the point where you feel like you beat the main quest and you're just doing like side missions at this point. You're like, I'm just here to fuck around and find out.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just here to have fun.
In any case, gentlemen, unless we have anything else to add to the topic, I feel like it's probably a wrap for this week. Do we have anything? Forever holding your peace. We good? All right. We got
Good?
Rave,
I'm good, homie.
DJ Rave. Check out Asylum Windsor if you're in the Detroit area, in the Windsor area, and if you're not, get on a plane and get here and go. But there's a form you have to fill out to get into Canada. So if you don't want to do that, just skip it. Don't actually, But if you can get into Canada,
Just bring your passport. And if you don't
yes.
have a passport, get your fucking passport, travel the world, and actually broaden your horizons a little bit.
Or get real good at swimming. Detroit River is not that wide. Also, we have Raven down on the bottom screen there. Just a really cool motherfucker. So, and me, I'm just Jess. This has been It's Not a Phase, and we're going to try to publish this weekly. So subscribe if you're into that kind of thing. Have a great week. Until next time.